So why don't you start?
Okay. I'm Özgü Bulut, Muzaffer Özgü Bulut. I'm a body percussionist. I'm a classical percussionist. I'm a musician. And I'm working at the university in Samsun nowadays. I have a position at the Musicology department. But for now, I'm residing in Barcelona for 1 year because I'm on a research project. I'm running a research project about body music and music therapy. And here I am to tell you about this time of my life.
And this interesting link, I would say, this interesting link between these two things that is, I think, now starting to develop between something that was basically a lot on a performative level, and then it went into a deep education level, and now we're reaching this therapeutic level of body music, which is very interesting.
Right, yes. We were using it a lot with teacher trainings. Now we are working with therapists as well.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's give a little, like, your interpretation of body music. How would you explain it to somebody who hasn't done it before?
Oh, well, all the sounds and movements of the body is included in body music. Actually, according to me, we are communicating through body music. Everybody has his body music, her body music, with talking, with all the levels of all the different dynamics in your speech, all the different dynamics in your movements. When I'm doing this belongs to me, and it's my music. It's because there is a musical thing. And about our motto, music you can see, dance you can hear, no? So there is a musical thing inside this. You could say, di-do-di-do-di. So I think there is music in each movement. There is dance in each sound. That's why it's a huge thing when we say body music. Everything we do with our bodies. But there's a slight thing, slight issue. There's an issue that I want to tell about here. It's when we say music, we think of art, an artistic activity. But artistic activity can be anything. I mean, it doesn't have to be done with sounds. When you do it with sounds and when you do it for aesthetics to make it beautiful, so you put it in an order, then it's a work of art. Maybe when it's accepted by that many people, it becomes a better work of art, a more well-known work of art. But we are not after the word art here when we are pronouncing body music. We are pronouncing body music as it's the sounds and the behavior. Some people take it as body percussion. But this is still, I'm a member of KeKeÇa Body Percussion Ensemble from Istanbul. And in KeKeÇa, we are still discussing about this topic. We are calling it body percussion. We called it body percussion. Now we call it body music. But why don't we call body movement? Why don't we call body art? Why don't we call body this, body that? Okay. Well, because there is no word really to describe what we mean.
It seems more like in the way you describe it, it has led to this way of being and of realizing and perceiving sound and movement in a very open range. So it's not only the aesthetic part, it's also seeing things, identifying objects as shapes, as musical loops, as things that are not always obvious with just the words music or dance. It takes you somewhere specific. You're right. Yes, interesting. And I would say also percussive dance is an interesting term for me that I like to use. Or I've heard also sounding dancers or silent dancers, you know, between these two
Yes.
elements as well. Yes, in America, of a
Right.
friend doing research. So it's interesting to see how do we perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
Um,
Body rhythm is also a nice thing.
yes, body rhythm, body beats, body drumming, a whole bunch of these things. They're
Yeah,
interesting.
they're
Um,
all in.
yeah, all trying to explain something. I know Keith Terry identifies as a rhythm dancer,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah,
which is a
a
nice
nice one
thing.
also, no?
You can definitely see him as a rhythm dancer,
He
which is
chooses
great.
to say body music because he says it's melody and percussion together.
Hmm.
But we are taking it in a larger um, spectrum, let's say spectrum, yeah,
Hmm.
in a larger meaning. So, yeah,
Yeah, it has
how,
developed in a huge school of thought and way of being. Um, could you tell us a little bit more about the therapeutic side of music and like your involvement in this? Maybe like because also you are a musician, percussionist, body percussionist, body musician, and then you also have an academic background, which is important to tie into here.
yes. So, about the therapeutic side of music and body music, especially, I'd like to tell about some history of KeKeÇa. Tugay Bashar is the founder of our percussion group, body percussion group, KeKeÇa. And KeKeÇa means play yourself. KeKeÇa, kendini çal. Kendin is yourself, kendini is to yourself, çal is play. So you play yourself. His beginning to this body percussion work was in the beginning of the 2000s. And he wanted to communicate with an autistic child. That was the beginning. So actually, the beginning was a therapeutic action. Um, so trying to build communication.
That's interesting. I didn't know that story, how it
Yeah,
started.
you didn't. So he was then invited to psychotherapists meetings in Bergama, in Turkey, sometimes, but I didn't know until I was invited myself. My mother being a psychodramatist, she was, and a social worker, she was always going to these psychotherapists meetings. And she told me, I'm working with groups and you're working with groups too. So let's see how our groups react to your practice. It's like, yeah, very good idea. Let's see. In 2016, they called me to Bergama to a meeting of the psychotherapists, the IAGP, International Association for Group Psychotherapies and Processes. So I was there for a few days and I had a workshop with 30, 35 people in a tent. And after that, especially two names, Mona Rakavi from Egypt and Eva Fallstormborg from Sweden. They said, this is really very powerful. Especially Eva told me, this is really powerful to deal with trauma, because you're touching yourself, and self-touch is a very important, very powerful technique in dealing with trauma. However, we can't tell our patients, touch yourself. But we can tell them, how about taking a body percussion workshop? Or how about that we give them sort of body percussion so that they can touch themselves in an artistic way, making music, dancing, and so then, okay. So anything that is related to therapy and self-touch counts for body music. So there they said, well, go on with this because it's very important. There will be something about it. okay. Then in 2 years, in 2018, Mona Rakavi told me, she invited me to have a workshop in Egypt at their regional conference, which was also at their local conference, which was also the regional conference of the International Association for Group Psychotherapy and Group Processes. So I said, okay, a 3 hours, 3.5 hours workshop with all psychodramatists, psychotherapists, and physiotherapists, and so music therapists also, dance therapists. Then in 2020, again, once more. Then I said, okay, let me do something new in this one, that I have a workshop with these people, and then I asked them, how would you use this practice in your own sessions? So these games, how would you use them? And I got a lot of feedback, and I recorded them, and I put them on paper. And I saw, yeah, there is a lot of possibility in this. And it was in 2019 or 20, Alessio Suryan called us as KeKeÇa to the second Mediterranean meeting of the music therapists, the Mediterranean meeting. He called us to Padova. And it was so interesting to see that among the 5 or 6 speakers, each of them was a music therapist. And they were telling about their music therapy sessions, actions everywhere around the world. Only us, KeKeÇa, artists. And we were never music therapists. So you need to have a background, an educational background to be a therapist. So you need to see what the problem of your client is, and then you have to be able to create remedies for this problem. Our practice is said to be therapeutic, but we don't have the knowledge to forward it to a specific objective, a therapeutic objective. So we are there as artists to give ideas to the music therapists, what we did actually, because it was we had some community building experience, and we were asked to share this community building experience, and we did. We went with Timuçin and from KeKeÇa, one of our founders. So that was also a plus for me to talk about body music with music therapists, and being invited there as one of the 6 speakers. They are inviting body musicians. Why?
And then the curiosity, the research began.
Yes,
it opened up a new world.
Yes. So in my mind, these things started coming together, like 2 guys starting with, and also I had in the way, when I was invited to Belgium, for instance, for a workshop with musicians, I was asked to visit a school with kids with autism, and they told me, well, there can be any problem. There can be a problem, and we might have to take you out. I said, I'm okay with that. I'm here, and if you need me to work with these people, I'm okay with it. I'm going to give it a try. And we were over 20 people in the room, including the teachers of the school. And I began with, well, you can't talk to people. I wouldn't talk because I don't speak their language. They wouldn't understand English. No. I started with an imitation game. I started imitating somebody from the group, and everybody was imitating me. But no, they weren't imitating me. They were actually imitating him next to me, the boy. And then he realizes that I'm imitating him, looking at me and really with a smiling face, going down on the ground and licking the ground. Him. And we together licking the ground with him, and he's checking us. Are they licking the ground? And then starting to laugh with bumping on the floor. And so everybody laughing in the crowd. This was the beginning of the workshop. I don't remember if I got more wet in any workshop, but I asked for a report from the teachers, and it was really marvelous what I saw, what I read afterwards, because one of the boys, they never knew that he was beatboxing. And when we were switching the leadership of the imitation, he suddenly started beatboxing, and he had a small concert of 5 to 10 minutes to us. Oh my God!
Wow.
So, I liked this very much. So there is a therapeutic side to it. I'm there as an artist, but yeah, the report shows that it was really beneficial.
Yes, it gives the space to explore.
Yes. So, and then many other things come together, such our friends working with different people, and my getting acquainted with body percussion is also I can put it in this bag of activities again. I was having breakfast in Anadolu University in the morning, and then some guy next table telling the other, we have a concert tonight, a percussion concert with hearing impaired. I'm hearing this as the classical percussion teacher in the conservatory, and I don't know anything about this concert of that night in the conservatory. How come I don't know? I'm the percussion teacher, and they have a percussion concert with the hearing impaired, and I don't know. I went to him and I said, well, I want to know. Well, he said, come at 5 o'clock to this hall and you will see. And I went. It was really fantastic. For 40 hearing impaired on stage making music is fantastic for somebody who's like, because to be able to make music, you have to hear, and you have to have a special hearing talent of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, and you have to be discriminating these, and you have to be discriminating, you have to be able to hear each note when it's played four notes at the same time. You have to be able to sing them all, and so, but they are hearing impaired. How can they make music?
Yes.
So this is really pushing the borders out at once and breaking the borders in 40 minutes. And I was like, tears in my eyes, an interactive concert with hearing impaired. The people are like flowers, open flowers, you know. They had a rap piece at the end of the concert. I was astonished to hear that. So rap piece, they composed themselves. And then they went with KeKeÇa to tours. Then I was not a member of KeKeÇa, but they went to many tours in Dortmund, and so KeKeÇa was called also to some projects of therapists. One of them being the Dortmund Intact. So Irmgard Merkt is the professor, KeKeÇa's friend, who invited KeKeÇa to these meetings 2 or 3 times. One of them, KeKeÇa went with this group of hearing impaired for a show. So, and in 2023, again, with the, oh well, I don't want to jump there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, this is impressive. Yeah, because you know that Jota Beklari and I have been collaborating on this project of hers about using body music techniques for the hearing impaired and the blind, or the sight impaired at the same time. Based on what you said, if you can hear the dance and see the music, yes, then there is something. If you're missing one of these senses, then probably you can find it somewhere else, and it's working magically. So now that you're saying this, I'm not impressed that 40 musicians hearing impaired can play music, because now if you work with them, you can see that yes, it's possible. But if you don't know about it, and if you see music in such a narrow sense, only coming from the ear and not from the eyes or the touch or the resonance or all these things, you're missing a big part of what music is. And what we have discovered also is how many new things that we are learning about the way we hear and we see and we feel, and the impression we have about the world, because we are not going in depth in all our senses. So oppositely, the hearing abilities and sensitivity of the blind and the sight specificity of the deaf and how they can read lips when you talk, and all these things are amazing tools for research, for education, also aesthetically for performance. You get so many ideas of creative and artistic work from collaborating with all these other people.
Oh yes, and solutions as well.
And solutions, easy solutions that is not so hard.
Right.
You know, and what has been also therapeutic from our side as educators is how you can feel comfortable having people with disabilities in your class, because if you are not acquainted with it, sometimes it's uncomfortable because you think that you don't know what they need, or you help too much, or you're afraid that they will miss something and they will feel bad, or some kind of responsibility. And by working for some years with these groups, when a blind student asked, "Can I join your weekly body percussion class?" I said, "Yes, of course." And I know what they can do and how they move, and I feel very comfortable in just changing my speech from, instead of saying "do this," I say "clap." You know, so you talk descriptively instead of talking with someone that has their sight. Do this and then do that, and now we do this and we do that. You know, you're being more specific in your language, and that's beautiful.
Yes. So you're being educated.
Exactly,
Same time.
exactly. So it's a barter, it's an exchange.
Yeah, it's an exchange.
Amazing. So did you decide to go into this were these, you think, the main influences that made you research, try to bridge these two worlds?
Yes. Well, it's actually, yeah, these things coming in my mind together, and the question, these people have been inviting me, therapists have been inviting me. There will be always body percussionists in the world who can be invited, and so, but is this the rhythm that should it be? I mean, that it should be. They are inviting a body percussionist, paying, and they are taking a little bit of bite-sized class. A 3 hours class is a bite-sized class in a lifetime. And they are, oh, it's nice, we can do it, but they are not actually getting any competency out of it. They are only observing what happens when it is used, but they don't have any idea about how the facilitator feels about it and how the facilitator is working. I have with KeKeÇa or with friends, we've been talking because we had projects, and so we have been developing ways of facilitation, some rules, some let's not say rules, some approach of facilitation, which is very liquid and fragile at the same time, but very strong at the same time. It depends on the group and your relationship with the group.
But it's flexible to change if it needs to.
On that specific time, now and here. So I'm trying, I said, well, these people, if they know, they are working with groups. I know from my mother, I know that, and so they are working with groups. They are working in a circle. We are working in a circle too. So if they know these extra ways of facilitation of movement and sound, some games about the rhythm going in between, and so they can facilitate, I thought, as therapists. So to give them this key, the best place would be the school. that's why I said, well, why not do I work with music therapists to form a body music course, which is suitable for this field, for the field of therapy, not for only music therapy. But the music therapists were the good group of people to work with because they know about the musical terminology in music, so that I wouldn't have problems in communication in this sense. So I wanted to work with music therapists, and having met Dr. Melissa Mercadal in Italy, that time in 2019, she was the head of World Federation of Music Therapy. So she was also one of the speakers. So knowing that she's very much positive into body music and these practices, and knowing that she could reach many people in the world, and she's a flexible person. So I asked her, just, may I come to your school and work with your students? And is it possible? Are there any professional music therapists in Barcelona? Because what I would like to see is how students react to this course, how students react to having a body percussion, body music course in their program. And secondly, what do teachers of the program think about this class? The competencies of the class and the competencies of the program, which are common and which are not common. What is this class adding to the competencies of the whole program? And at the end, the question is it, how necessary is it? This, I don't know the answers yet.
Okay,
The answers I don't know yet. At the end, I'm going to see. And the more important, the first question, these are the side questions. The first question is, what is the contribution of body music course in professional music therapists' sessions? So I wasn't able to do it, but with body percussion, I have the key and I can do it. Or body music, I have the key and I can do it. Or I felt myself really with this, after body music course, I feel much better. I didn't have an extra way of working with people with dementia, but body music gave me this opportunity.
Yes, it's a way in to different opportunities and different minds and different ways of learning.
Yes.
It's an access, it's a ticket, kind of. You're using it as a tool to enter these spaces.
Yes. So to realize this, the method I thought about, what to do, a university course of body music for 16 weeks, 3 hours per week, because there are some competencies that you need to work on. If the class is 5 people, 2 hours would be enough. But if the class is 10 people, then you need 3 hours. Why? Because you're working on facilitation and they need to experience this. You need the time. You need time for this. They need to conduct the group. They need to facilitate. 1. 2, they need to get prepared and facilitate. So they have to experience that also. So all their stages, from being a non-facilitator to beginning trying to facilitate, and then
very interesting. And then, and yes, then you will find, you could talk about what you have realized so far, if you have been keeping notes, and what you see that is working or is not working. But also for them, it's already in them. You cannot take it out of them. So you have given them something that later on they can develop also in the future in their own way, which is great.
That's
It's not only a research project for you, it's a sharing an opportunity to share the material with a wider public.
right. So what makes it a research project is actually this is participatory action research. What a participatory action research is, your participants of the class are also researchers working with you. I don't have the knowledge of music therapy, but they do. They all do. So they can tell me about the bridge between music therapy and body music. I'm the person who is showing them body music, world of body music, but they are the ones to tell me the bridge and tell themselves the bridge. Actually, I'm not using the bridge. They are going to use the bridge between music therapy and body music. So the bridge can be some practical bridge, or bridge can be a literature, bridge of literature. So that's what we're trying to discover.
Very nice. What have you seen so far? How are they taking it in? Have you reached the point to talk about different mental health states that these things can help? Like you mentioned self-touch, in that some people are not in good terms with their body and touching themselves. What else have you been kind of surprised with from this science?
All right. About self-touch, yet none. I mean, I just told them about the literature of self-touch and what people wrote about it. But now I'm at the stage, like in the first term, we had 16 weeks with 10 music therapists. And some people who are willing from these 10 music therapists and whom I can visit in their sessions. Now I'm beginning the visits by the month of May. So next, from this Friday, I'm going to be going for case studies. And I'm going to observe what's happening, what is their objective, what's the target group. And for this target group and for this objective, which games did they think about? Because the course consists of some games that we have been collecting with KeKeÇa, which are like play-dohs. So each game has a different approach to body percussion and fostering different abilities. For instance, let's say Keith Terry's rhythm blocks work on sides, but shiki shiki shak shak doesn't work on sides. You can work with sides with this, but it's weird. It's weird because this is giving you the sides very clearly. So, or you have the double lateral things you do with both hands at the same time, or you have imitation games. And so what was very interesting for the therapists was that we had a name for each game. And I told them, well, you need to have it because then it becomes a material for you. Otherwise,
yeah, that's how you build your own curriculum, and you put a
give
name
me
on
the
it.
telephone if you don't know the
Yes.
word for it. So, so there is a terminology to it. So, but everybody names his game himself. I mean, I'm not pushing them. I'm giving examples of KeKeÇa games and how we name them. But yeah, they are learning this, but this is a model for them.
Very
to
nice.
make their own games, to name their own games, or use as KeKeÇa uses. But it's free. It's okay. So
Beautiful.
so we worked with them like 15 weeks. Now I have another group. I'm working together with music therapists. It's a smaller group of 4 people. And also I have the group with music therapy students nowadays going on. And it's the first time that I'm doing it with music therapists. Last term, I didn't have music therapy students. Sorry. First time I'm doing it with music therapy students. Last term, I didn't have them. And what I see the music therapy second year students didn't have time enough. So it's suitable for the first year. That's what I see. And they are more enthusiastic, the first year students. The second years always are like, oh, this year we have the dissertation.
Yeah, the stress comes in and you can't process new information.
Right.
I think, and it also this art form needs some time and dedication and practice, so you feel confident with it. If you need to facilitate it, you have to own it to some extent.
All right. Yes. You need to own it and you have to have practiced them. Yeah.
I'm guessing that all this would be very interesting for dance therapy as well.
Right.
For sure.
Right. Yes. I see this activity as a link between dance therapy, body psychotherapy. So dance movement therapy. It's the whole name. Dance movement therapy, body psychotherapy, occupational therapy, even physiotherapy.
Yeah.
Yes, you can work with people of rehabilitation as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have stories about this also. In one of my groups, there is a music therapy teacher, music therapy professor, who has multiple sclerosis, and she told me she could move her leg after the workshop. So there is a plus.
Wow.
If she wants to work on it, she can work on it.
Yeah.
And Keith Terry has been telling, you heard it from him, and I'm sure has been telling that he recovered a stroke, two strokes.
Yeah.
With studying with
Yes.
rhythm blocks.
Absolutely. And he looking at himself in the mirror, he could have the sight and the sound and the touch all at once.
Yes.
This is what he said. It's very important.
Yes, that's really something important to mention.
Yes.
That we are dealing with more than one sense.
Yes.
When we are body musicking. And yeah.
Very nice.
The activity is much different than other types of circle activities. Because
and if I remember correctly, KeKeÇa had traveled to Greece to work with choirs and refugee groups. Is that correct? Like, do you know of this?
The refugee group in
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
But I've never been there. Although I have sent them a composition.
Okay.
Yes. And,
okay. Because yeah, I remember the group having worked also with other types of vulnerable groups, such as refugees, for example. Like in this, not only the technical therapy thing, but the community healing element, you know? Yeah.
And more important, as you have the language inside, the lyrics also help a lot. I'm going to give you examples. Well, with the solidarity with the group in Lesbos, the text I sent, the text we worked on was Rumi's text, Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi. He is a philosopher of the Sufi philosopher of the 20th, no, not 20th, come on, 12th, 13th centuries. So it's about, instead of looking for excuses to get annoyed at each other, look for remedies to love and be loved. This was the Turkish version of it, the original. Küsmek ve darılmak için bahaneler yerine sevmek ve sevilmek için çareler ararım. He says look for remedies, but we did it like I look for remedies in Turkish. So I composed it. I made a three-part composition, an easy one that everybody could follow and do. It's a circle song. And Timuçin put it in the pocket and took it to Lesbos. And after he said, everybody who sees me is singing me this melody. And they know the words. It's very full of peace and love, these words. So it was therapeutic in a way for them because of the words and also because of playing the body and doing something together.
Mm.
And coming here 1 month ago, one of my students, let's say participants of the body music course of the last term, she told me, I'm going to work with a group and I want to work on emotions. And what would you suggest? And I said, well, there are sometimes things hidden in the past of people which they want to shout out loud, but they can't because of any reason. What we can do is, like very many artists do, we can abstract these things. So you can give them sort of a material of body percussion and ask them to abstract their feelings, a sentence, a word, whatever they want to shout out loud into their body percussion. And then it will become a solid material for them, which they can share, which they can also give to other people and play together.
Yes,
It's going to
exactly.
become a game. It will transform to another thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a medium to get everything out. Mm.
Right. So she said, well, I'm going to try that. And it went really good.
Mm. That makes sense also. It reminds me of the recent project that I have told you about, which works with children born of war, which is it's about children born from local mothers and enemy soldier fathers. So in war settings, in each war, let's say in a way, the locals and the enemy of some sort come together, either with consensual relationships or non-consensual, or exchange of information and business stuff, or rape, or just a love story. You never know all these types, but there are so many children that are born from this war. So and I have been working on a piece, body music piece, that tells a little bit of these stories, and trying to find and to use body music as a medium to express these things. I was looking for something that can tie these elements together, and it was exactly what you said: hidden histories, untold stories, taboo things that are not allowed to be said in an explicit way. A lot of research from children not understanding that something is not the truth in their family, and where do I come from, who is my father, what is going on, searching for photos, for letters, all this puzzle that is not set, just these different pieces, and putting in the element of wanting to be heard, either as a body percussionist or as a child born of war. This thing of finding this liberation in expressing what you want, what you're going through, what your story is, who you are, who you want to be, all these things that we see a lot in percussive dance, not only as an element to play music, but also to share who you are without talking. And it's a very important element that has helped me connect with these people. And some of them have written poems about them, others have written books. Like, they have found a medium to express their stories in the more artistic way, let's say, which is very important in the end. It's a reason for art to exist.
All right. Yes. Yes. And you're giving an artistic medium to people just to be able to do that. So actually, this is what art therapy stands for. Not for getting people acquainted with the work of art. To take out the artist, to bring out the artist in people. That's what I like a lot, because body music gives the opportunity to make music with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the second story of another participant was actually this story I heard before, from another student of mine who was working in Germany with kindergarten children. She was going to check how body percussion functions. This is like 8 years ago or something. I was teaching in Eskişehir then, more than 8 years. Yeah. And she was going to check this out, and she's calling me back with tears in eyes. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I can't teach body percussion to kindergarten students. And I said, okay, what's the problem? The problem is that they block me. They don't want to learn. But is there a way that you can teach them? Well, they want to sing songs. Well, okay. If they want to sing songs, you can make them sing songs and over it. But eventually her result was that the program she prepared as only body percussion didn't work. So that's a very good result, actually. When you introduce body music to some groups as like, we are going to do body music today. And so most of the time you get like, what is it?
Absolutely. There's a stereotype about it. Yes.
So childish. No, let's sing songs. So
Exactly.
here also, one of the participants of the body music course, who is a music therapist, she told me, oh, the original sound is now open. Is it better?
Yes, I think original sound is good for if you want to be heard. Like if I turn it on, is there a difference?
I turned it on now.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Um,
I'm telling you about it.
yeah, no, I think it's exactly the same thing with the word improvisation. If you add in a tap dance class or something, okay, now let's improvise, everybody blocks. But if you say now, I want us to play da dee da dee da da in whichever way anyone wants to, and we will just share the space, then they will do it.
So there are some words that you shouldn't touch.
Yes.
You shouldn't be there, you know?
Absolutely.
There is nothing called improvisation.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, this friend of mine, the participant of the course, the professional music therapist, she told me, I'm living really the difficulty with the elderly, the same difficulty. They are like, we want to sing. And I said, well, okay, let them sing and don't tell about body percussion, body music or something. While they are singing, start doing something very easy, imitable, but not in very much rhythmic. And so something that looks okay, but it's not patterning. It's just, they will join you, I said, somehow. And then you can go into something repeating. Maybe some will copy you, some will do whatever they want. And then, yes, she came with the feedback that it worked. And it worked so fine that she took it to the other group, what she wasn't planning to do. And she did it with the second group too, and they had a lot of fun too. So
Yeah.
this is also another thing about
Exactly. Yeah, that everybody does it, everybody enjoys it. It doesn't always have to have a label, but it's there for everyone. There's an element that we already have. I always think about it as the child, the first thing that you see a child celebrating something. There's a clap that you don't really teach it. It comes from an excitement of wanting to make sound with your voice and your claps and your stomps to show your excitement. Basically, it's about expressing it, bringing the two sides of your body that never meet. You just bring them together, and everything is there.
Yes.
Amazing.
I see a lot of people doing many rhythms with their hands, and so as I'm a body musician, I always making different sounds, and so in this while walking, and so people are doing this.
Absolutely.
Not conscious.
No,
People
it's
are
there.
doing this. So
Amazing.
it's there, yes. and there are many people with a lot of talent about it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
they are not using it as a talent. They know. They don't even know that it's a plus talent that
Hmm.
everybody can.
Yeah, or we think something, oh, I'm just doing, it's nothing. Like the beatbox you said, there is a richness in that.
Yes. So about the research, I'm getting some results,
Hmm.
but not written yet, the
Mm-hmm.
results. So I will see in some time, I think, and I think the results of this research is going to be helpful for the project that we're trying to get to get to. And I think embodied rhythm is a very good phrase. Embodied rhythm is a very good phrase.
That's nice. Embodied rhythm, yes, that's
Yes.
true.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
really also
Wow.
enthusiastic and
Yeah, it sounds exciting.
yeah,
It sounds exciting.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
good
forward
good
to it.
luck with all of that. You have to.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to having this project done. So
Nice. Very nice.
and
Amazing.
yeah,
No, thank you
I'm
so much. This was a lot of good insights and actually trying to see what is happening around Europe, especially with body music, is fantastic. This is a great thing.
yes.
I hope you guys get to publish some kind of results and that so we can take a look.
Maybe we do together. You never know. So
Yes.
yeah, the publishment is something else.
Hmm.
What I'm thinking of some ways to
To
get
disseminate the
people,
information, yeah.
to get the information to people to, yeah,
That would
would
be
be nice
nice.
to have maybe a website with courses, with the link
Absolutely.
of the course.
Yeah, because now you're building this curriculum as well. It's an opportunity to put all these ideas out there.
Yes,
Amazing.
they will be. The,
Amazing.
these ideas are going to be there. I'm going to tell you all about them.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean,
The-
and I think that is the interesting or the scope of an institution to create legacies, to create archives and to make things open access and it's just important for institutions to have to give this space. I'm also teaching body percussion as the rhythm course of a professional drama school in Athens, and it's the only one that I have heard that it has ever accepted a body percussionist to take on the rhythm course of the whole school. And
Wow,
it's like, thank you. It means a lot to acknowledge this, and I can see incredible change and interest from the students to explore and to see what's going on, not only in their movement, but also listening to music, trying to decode it. What is the single beat? What is the pulse? Not going directly to the Western European type of reading music, but going to experience it in terms of beats and pulses in all the world music approaches of Indian rhythmology and usul and all these things that are giving an expansion of ways to see music.
perfect. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's
No, it's
giving me
very
an
useful
idea.
for to have the space as small institutions to give this space for our methodologies and stuff.
I think so too. Yes,
Amazing.
we have to work on encouraging them.
Yes, and we are, and we will.
Oh, we will.
Thank you so much for this. This was amazing, really.
You're welcome, my dear. Well,
Thank you.
I have a lot more things to say, maybe, but I think for this span of time, I see now we are
Yeah,
over.
yeah. I think it's a good length just to recap a little bit, and it was very nice to hear a lot about what you're doing.